my situation is arpeggios, and my desire is to better understand arpeggios, right? So I was reflecting on the demonstration you did on Wednesday, most impressive. And I posted 10.4 last night, so I'm thinking about building ammo, as we say, around Stella and arpeggios. And I don't think I really understand how to practice arpeggios, right? I look at the materials that we have in the GGA,
Right.
and you've got a couple of arpeggio lessons built around learning the G major scale in all positions, right? And the exercise is to play the thirds within the scale, right? Which is around the G major chord, right? But I'm looking to generalize that. And I know that we've avoided practicing scales for the sake of scales and arpeggios for the sake, right? We want to learn them as we come upon them, right, in pursuit of developing a repertoire, and I love that. But I feel like I need a more systematic way to approaching arpeggios. Do you have a recommendation?
I do, yes. Layer it up, and that could be a great... I need to make a mental note and add this to my 4.0 course. So it's important to go by layer, because what I provide in lesson 7 is, all right, let's do quarter note arpeggios, one per beat, 1, 3, 5, 7, and then you're done.
Right.
But that's tip of the iceberg. So I'll grab the guitar to show you and play and go up and down and maybe decipher some of the stuff I did for Miles on Wednesday, because it was a lot that I did.
Yeah.
But for starters, as my old teacher in Montreal used to say, I'm going to go not gym tempo, I'm going to go my tempo, and I'm going to have this repeat. So maybe 100. I'm going to have this loop. So I'm going to talk through layers of doing that. Quarter notes, right on. Right. Always starting on the tonic.
Mm-hmm.
I stop for the benefit of having camera here. The next step would be 8 notes, right? So it's the same materials, twice as fast. Alan, you're still with me?
Well, a question: Are you just playing? Are you just playing the notes in the chord shape?
No, good question. I'm playing the first, third, fifth, and seventh degree of the scale.
Of the scale associated with that chord.
Yeah, so I'm playing the chord tones, but not just the chord shape. Because if I played the chord shape, I'd go.
Right.
That doesn't really. It's like.
Yeah. Right.
Doesn't make sense. So what we do then is we go to the next available. So for an E flat minor 7, E minor 7 flat 5, E, G, B flat, and B.
Okay.
So on the first iteration, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on to the next. And the second iteration, I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it allows me to give the time to go back and forth. Another step would be to do 2 octaves. So it would be 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Depends if you have time to go down or up. Now we did ascending arpeggio, so then in the mix you may have.
Right.
It's still the same notes, but you just revert the order, right? Then you could do them in triplets or whatever. Then what I did partially over Ain't Misbehaving on Wednesday, I did that's a third of the next one, right? So then you can go up or down to the next available note to the next chord and then keep doing your arpeggio motion. That's a lot of work, but the advice, like my basic advice, is layer it. If you encounter something that looks insurmountable, I guess, you just layer it down to what's the next obvious step I can take. Can you do quarter note arpeggios like the workout? Yeah, you probably can. Can you do it in 8 notes? Interesting. After you can do it in 8 notes, can you do it backwards? Can you descend the arpeggio instead of ascending it? And after you can, right, so just layer up until you get a state of flow, meaning you get something that's just challenging enough, but not too hard, that you can keep making progress.
But just to recap, you're playing the root, third, fifth, and seventh in the scale, right?
For now, yes.
Okay.
Then, that could be a topic for another discussion.
Right.
Two of my favorite things to do, I'll do with a C major. Start with a C, and instead of starting my arpeggio on C, I start on E. And I go up to the 9, so 3, 5, 7, 9.
Yeah.
So I'm essentially playing on extensions, but people say, well, that's an E minor 7 arpeggio. It is. It's the same note, right?
So maybe you just mentioned this and I missed it. So if I'm playing a more elaborate chord, say with extensions, right? Do I want to pick up those extensions?
Uh,
Let's say I have a flat 9, you know?
as a follow-up step, yes. At first,
Okay.
if you can't do 1 3 5 7 yet, you should do that one first, and the
Right.
ninth coming right after the 7 does make sense.
Okay.
And my last point is, not only is there direction, so there's 1 2 3 4, there's 8 note 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, there's all of that, and there's starting on the 3rd,
Yeah.
plus the conveyor belt that is non-negotiable.
Right.
The hat conveyor belt. The
Yeah.
one of the best thing I did for my own arpeggios is start to do 1 3 5 7, but have the 1 an octave up from where it is. So instead of 1 3 5 7, I go 1 3 5 7. That's in week 4.
Right.
But that is a puzzle when you've never done it, and then you encounter Stella. You're like, whoa, I gotta play my E minor 7 flat 5. I play my E up, and my next note up in the arpeggio is a G, but I gotta go down almost an octave to play my G. Te bu da de, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right. So it's the same arpeggio, but it's just looking at it from a slightly different angle. With all of that, and then with working on scales in pretty much the same fashion, scales quarter notes, up, down, up to the 7ths, 8 note, triples, whatever. Then eventually, you're building ammo. I think that was your question. That's how we build that.
Yes. That was exactly what I needed, Mark. Thank you.